Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Tanya Bertolone. I am in Ohio in the United States, and I'm here with Laureen today. Laureen, can you wave your hand? That's Laureen. Laureen and I work together. We are educators and living systems thinkers, both very involved in learning more about sociocracy and practicing it where we can. And so we are excited to be here today. We're here to tell stories. We want to share from our hearts. We want to share our passions. And we want to explore a little bit about sociocracy and some of the ways that it's being used in schools across the world. And we do want to make sure that you understand that this isn't necessarily a pedagogical conversation, because we know that sociocracy can be practiced anywhere with any pedagogy. And so whether it's a traditional public school or a private school or a democratic school, Montessori school, or not a school at all, if it's an organization, we know that sociocracy can be practiced in those places. So we want to make sure that we focus on that. And Mariani and Charlie, could you guys wave your hands? So that's Mariani and Charlie. And they have an organization called Wandering School. And they are creating a documentary that they're going to tell you about. They have been on a journey learning about schools and different approaches to educating our children. And they've experienced some sociocracy in schools, and they want to share that with us today. So I'm going to give you a brief overview on what today will look like, what these next couple hours will look like. First, Jerry is going to tell us more about Sociocracy for All, SOFA, and the kind of work that they do. And he's going to give us a brief history about sociocracy, which I found really fascinating. And then he's going to talk to us a little bit about his connection with Wandering School and why they've chosen to host them in this event today. And then next, we're going to hear from Charlie and Mariani from the Wandering School. And they're going to tell us more about the work that they're doing and how it ties into sociocracy. And they're going to share a little bit about their documentary. And I think we get to see a little clip, which will be fun. We're excited about that. And then the documentary is going to share a little bit about how sociocracy is being practiced in some of the schools that they have been observing. So, and then we thought it would be fun for us to break out into sessions, into groups. And we've come up with a couple, what we think are thought-provoking questions. We wanted you to be able to participate today and share your voice as well, so that we are all a community together, and we each get a chance to share some of our thoughts and ideas. So we will do a breakout session where we will go through some questions that we have prompted. So we are going to start, like I promised, with Jerry. He is going to give us a brief introductory into sociocracy and SOFA. So Jerry, go ahead and take it away.
Oh, let's see. Sociocracy. What is sociocracy? It is a host systems approach to governing our organizations. And the basic, most sort of fundamental concept is that is no one to be ignored. Unlike majority rule, where there's winners and losers in a decision-making, in sociocracy, we want everyone's voice to really matter. And the key values underneath sociocracy are transparency, because only with transparency can you really have a full voice, effectiveness, because we do want to get things done, and equivalence. I mean, everyone's voice matters. Everyone's everyone participates in decision-making with an equal sense of power, and all in the service of whatever the aim of the organization is. Several key elements. One is organizational structure, which is in the form of, it starts with a circle, a group of people who share a particular aim of their work, and then in an organization where there's more than just one small group of people, those circles will be linked to each other. We'll have sub-circles or super circles to get all the work done of the organization. All the circles kind of have a piece of the pie of the aim of the whole organization. When you think about in terms of schools, you can think in terms of administration circle, the different levels of sort of grades or ages of the students, the teachers, the parents, and their children, and their teachers. So multiple ways that the organizational structure can be set up with a school. And a very important part is when there are multiple layers in an organization, then there is what we call the double linking, that there are at least two people linking every circle to each other, so that whether it's so the information flows from top to bottom of the organization and from bottom to top, or from the more abstract long-term thinking of the organization to the more concrete short-term thinking of the organization, and in the other direction as well. So that's the organizational structure. And then the next key element is consent decision-making. And we define consent decision-making as there being no objection. The question is, do you have any objection to this particular proposal? If not, we can make a decision and make a key distinction there between preferences and objections. We may not always get what we want, but are we able to work with the proposal that we see in front of us? Is it good enough to try? And let's get some feedback, and that will help us learn whether the decisions that we've made are, need to be adapted. So feedback process is very important. You lead with some plan of action, you do it, and then you measure the results, and from that measure you evaluate, you come up with a new improved direction, and you keep doing that cycle. So it's a living organization, not something that is static and dead. And that's kind of the basic overview of sociocracy. Let's see if I can get to another slide here. Okay, so that's about sociocracy. I am Jerry Koch-Gonzalez. I am co-founder with Jennifer Rao of Sociocracy for All. As the name implies, we're really trying to bring sociocracy to as many people as we can and make it affordable, accessibility affordable to them. So what do? We make videos, and a lot of them are on YouTube. There's all these videos, and for example, the recording of this webinar will show up on our YouTube channel. And the most frequently watched video is this one here called Sociocracy, the Operating System of the New Economy. It's only 4 minutes long, and it's in multiple languages, or I should say it's in English, but with multiple languages in subtitles. And so besides videos, what we do is we produce articles and resources. You can find those on our website, sociocracyforall.org. We're on Facebook, we Twitter a lot. And the third thing that we do is training. We have several different kinds of ways of doing training. One is a study group curriculum. It's a 6-session series. You can download it from our website. You can do it on your own. You can have us coach you through it. It is basically a set of handouts and a set of videos that go together. We do the Sociocracy leadership training. That's a live immersive training where you learn by doing. So many people don't have a way to really learn sociocracy because so much of it depends upon doing it, not just being told about it. So in this context, the Sociocracy leadership training, we put you into a live organization, and you get to practice making decisions, producing a product using the Sociocratic method. And then, of course, we do in-person workshops as we get called upon to do that. And we support implementations of sociocracy into various kinds of organizations. And Sociocracy for All is itself an organization with members who are in various circles supporting the mission, the aim of bringing sociocracy to as many people as we can, as quickly as we can, to support a society, cooperative society for all. So the other thing I guess I want to just say in terms of sociocracy, there's that the history of sociocracy is that it started in a school. It was a Quaker school in the Netherlands where teachers and students worked together with shared responsibility for how learning took place. This school was started by Kes Beuke, Dutch educator, and one of his students was a man named Gerard Endenburg. He went to that school and then went on to become an electrical engineer and refine what we now know as Sociocracy in a company that manufactured electronic parts. Part of the engineering aspect of things is the whole importance of feedback. And feedback is a source of energy for changing and adapting, learning, growing. So when I think about sociocracy starting in a school and this webinar being about sociocracy in schools, for me, I think of what's the preparation for life that we would like young people to get. In my judgment, the hidden curriculum in many schools, besides learning, reading, writing, and arithmetic and all that, is that children are experiencing often power over systems and experience their own powerlessness. So I would like schools to be a place where children learn how to communicate skillfully and make decisions in a cooperative way. If we help children experience that, practice that together with them, that would change society. So that's what excites me and brings me to this particular program, where I hope we'll explore this question in this conversation with Charlie and Marianne, who are making this documentary about schools practicing sociocracy in the Netherlands.
So I'm super excited to introduce you all to Marianne and Charlie. Say hello, Marianne and Charlie.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
So, can you start by telling us a little bit about your story and who you are and how you came to this work?
Yes.
Okay, I can give a little bit about. So, I'm a filmmaker from England, and I ended up really interested in education because I went to a very regular school. And it was only after I left school that I realized that I actually enjoyed learning. And then through this process of learning, I became very critical about my own experience in education. And then I became involved in a little project called Schools of Thought. And we were traveling around the UK visiting alternative education. And I felt that when I was visiting these schools, it really woke something up inside me. I felt my mind was tickling with wonders and questions, and my heart became really alive because I realized that each school is a little model of society. It shows us how our world could be in a small way. And so for me, Wandering School is kind of a long extension of this journey over about the last 8 years since leaving school.
And I'm a teacher. I started my teacher training 9 years ago, actually. And then I had contact with the state schools in Brazil, which really opened my eyes to the reality of the state system. And since then, I decided to become a teacher and get engaged, especially in the state schools. So I was a science teacher in Brazil for 2 years. And within my classroom, which was still very limited back then, I was practicing democratic decision making to solve some issues with some conflicts with the students. I was also trying to implement project-based approach. So I was trying non-traditional approaches within my little bubble. And then that also leads to why my interest in sociocracy. And then I went to the UK to do my master degrees in education, and that's when we met each other. And we realized that we had this shared dream to build a learning community, to build a school where we could fully develop ourselves as human beings and to engage in society, change things the way they are. And the decision-making process is a big part of that. So that's how we got interested in this topic.
So now we are doing Wandering School together, and it's bringing both of our skills together. So me as a filmmaker and Mali as an educator. So it's an independent research to help us ask and answer a lot of questions around education, and to help us figure out how might we create the school or learning community that we want to create.
And then to answer that, we start visiting different schools in Brazil, Portugal, England, and now the Netherlands, in search for inspiration, ideas, practices. So it's been a journey of learning with people on the way. That's what defines Wandering School.
And your documentary is called School Circles, right?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about your documentary?
Yeah, so this documentary, School Circles, comes out of the question, how could sociocracy work in the school context?
And we got interest in that because we did a very brief introduction course on Sociocracy 3.0 with James Priest a while ago, and we were really interested in the wisdom that the minority can bring to the decision making. Because from my experience in the schools, I realized that a lot of the time the children, they were bringing, for example, punishment as a solution for the problems that we're having, because this is a conditioning that we have. So we are conditioned to think that punishment is the way to solve problems, for example. So we started to realize that the majority rule sometimes, quite often, reproduce some patterns of behavior, and we were interested to know how it could be different. And this introduction course gave us some insight. And then we wonder, are there any schools that practice sociocracy? Because we would like to bring sociocracy into the learning community that we wish to build. And we knew that it started in the Netherlands. So we researched and we found out 11 schools. We can share with you as well what are these schools. The school that Kees work founded still exists, but they don't practice sociocracy anymore, apparently. And the documentary is about 5 of these schools. So we've been through the last month really immersing ourselves into each of these schools. We spent 1 week in each of them, more or less. And the idea of the documentary is to show from an inside perspective how it feels to be inside the school, so people can learn from the practice.
Yes, so the finished film will probably be about an hour and a half, and we're really hoping to make it an immersive experience. There's not too much interview talking heads, but more feeling like you're inside the practice.
And so what, can you tell us a little bit about some of the observations that you made when you were in the schools where you saw sociocracy being practiced? And then you can show us maybe your little clip that you have, right?
Yeah.
Ah, yes, you show that first.
We're gonna start with the little video then, so we can talk from that. I think that will be a good stimulus to start. But just to let you know, this is an exclusive, special little teaser, but we added very briefly, so it's not finished.
It's a very simple clip.
Let me just figure out how to share.
And we decide the rules with everyone in the school circle. So you can, when you want something in the school, you can make a motion, you can write it down, and you are going to discuss it with the people who are interested, and you make a decision together.
And how do you make the decisions together?
We start with the person who wrote it down, and he or she is going to tell about the motion. What do you want? Why do you want it? How much will it cost? And after that, we are going to do, we call it beeldvormende ronde. So it's like the image round. So we ask if the image is clear, what the person wants. And when it's clear for everyone, we go to the opinion round, and everyone one by one can give his or her opinion about it. So, do you want it or not? Do you have any other ideas? Why would you want it, or why don't you want it? And maybe we do another round if not everyone has said enough. Maybe they got new ideas, and you go just one by one, so you can interrupt. Only when you have a question to the person who's talking, you can put up your hand, and the leader of the circle says, "Oh, you can talk, you can ask a question," and the person can answer. And where there are a lot of opinions round, we did a opinion rounds, and everyone is done with their opinion. They said it all about it. Then we go to decision round. So we ask, does somebody have something for a decision? So maybe so someone says, "Oh, we can decide this and that," and then we do a consent round. And consent means not like, "Oh, I completely approve," but it means you don't have an argument against it. So, and it's also overwegend, so you have to take like, "Oh, is my opinion more important than the whole group?" So when you only say, "Oh no, I don't want it because I think it's stupid," but that's not a valid argument. You have to have a good reason why you don't want it. So we go, everyone has to say consent or not consent. And when everyone is consent, this decision is approved, and we have that rule or that decision. And when someone says not consent, we go to that person, we ask, "Why are you not consent? Can you make a new decision?" So we go that round until everyone is consent, and then we go to the next point.
Said it was a beautiful video, and thank you for sharing it. So yes, please go ahead and add in whatever you were going to add in about the video, and then we were just wondering about your wonderings, what you're wondering now, and what questions you still have. So
Cool.
Okay. Well, this video, I think she explains quite well how the rounds work. So she was talking about the school circle. So every school that we visit has a school circle, which is a meeting that happens usually once a week, but in one of the schools they do it every day. And it's a moment when all the students and all the staff members can come together to make decisions about, they can create rules or change rules, they can come with different proposals and discuss the proposals, they can bring issues and come out with solutions together. So this is the main Sociocratic meeting in the school. And in the last video, the last image, they were discussing, some student, for example, brought a proposal about having a candy floss machine in a party, and it would cost 600 euros. And then he presented the proposal, and then in the opinion round, each person said what they thought about it, and there was 4, and then afterwards there were 4 objections. So they asked each person what was the objection, and one girl said it was too much sugar, and she thought that was not a very good idea. And then some other boys said it was too expensive, so they were not sure if that was the best thing to do. So after that, everyone come out with new proposals, and at the end they come out to a decision that they will have the candy floss machine, and each person could only have 1 candy floss, and they would charge for it so they can get some money back. So it was really interesting, because if in the first moment they had just voted through the majority, then they would just get the candy floss machine because everyone wanted it. But afterwards they came out with a better decision. They improved their proposal, they adapted. And that's what we've been seeing in all the schools. And it's really beautiful to see, because they find ways to hear everyone and come out with a final decision that everyone consent with. And a lot of the time it's about experimenting. So the gaming, for example, in the school is a big issue, and they've been trying different ways to regulate gaming in the school. So some schools decided to just experiment 2 weeks without gaming and see how it goes. And then after 2 weeks, try something different, see how everyone responded to that. So that's what really stayed with us from the schools. And it is really beautiful to see. We have some wonders, yes, that we're taking from this. I think the main one for us is how could sociocracy be integrated in different pedagogical approaches? Because we do have interest in other pedagogies, and all these 5 schools, we don't know about the other ones, but these 5 schools, they practice what they call natural learning. So there are no compulsory activities, there's no classrooms or division according to ages. The adults play much more like a tutor role, so they don't intervene much, so that they have their own way of doing natural learning. And we are interested to know how it would be possible to do in different pedagogies as well. So that's one wonder. We also wonder how to bring that to the mainstream schools. From these 5 schools, 4 of them were private and 1 of them is state funded. So it was really interesting to see that. And this state funded school has been suffering from a lot of constraint from the government. So they've been really like a resistance in the Sociocratic community. And we wonder how to bring that more to the mainstream schools, you know, started the seeds in the schools that already exist. And we also wonder, is there room for other decision-making approaches? Because sometimes, it was not very common, but sometimes they might decide through consent to use majority rule, for example, to certain decisions, right? And we also notice that there's a big conflict between people that think the sociocracy might be the best way and people that think the other approaches are the best way. So there is a division there, and we would like to know how it's possible to integrate, if it is possible to integrate, if there is room for different methodologies, and in which circumstances or each moments they are more appropriate. So there are a few wonders that we have.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So in this next portion, we are going to do our breakout groups. So let me explain a little bit first. Lorene, do you want to start and read yours out loud for us?
We are imagining Sociocracy will help children and adults develop better communication skills and higher emotional intelligence, and we mean like enlightenment, so that we can create a more peaceful world.
Beautiful, thank you. Rob, do you want to read ours?
A possible future in which, by giving people the power to be heard, allows feelings of empathy to grow, and thus innovation, coupled with a harmonious, engaged community, can bring about a society in which everyone and everything, the planet, is given the respect and care that it deserves.
Thank you. Mariani?
Well, we imagine sociocracy as a way to empower children and youngsters in the development of inclusive communities with a sense of trust and belonging. Thank you. That was it.
Very nice. And then Charlie, is there something you're typing?
We see the possibility of vibrant community hubs networked together that are places where we go beyond what is right or wrong. So we hear each unique person as a whole being, and where we all take responsibility to take action every day. And these are homes of such powerful creative potential, of fertile soil, that any creative seed we plant into the soil germinates and grows into something beautiful.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Woo. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry. Bye.
Ciao, arrivederci. Merry meet, merry part. Merry meet again.
Thank you.
Bye.